Julia Wolfe is an internationally known composer. She received her B.A. from the Residential College at the University of Michigan, her master's degree in music composition from the Yale School of Music, and has held a doctoral fellowship at Princeton University. She is mostly known because she has recently won the MacArthur Fellow and the Pulitzer Prize in Music. She is also one of the co-founders of Bang on a Can in New York City. Julia Wolfe draws inspiration from folk, classical, and rock genres, bringing a modern sensibility to each while simultaneously tearing down the walls between them. We will be taking a closer look at the 2015 Pulitzer Prize winner, Anthracite Fields. The piece is for soprano, alto, tenor, and bass choir, and Bang on a Can All-Stars. The work was commissioned by the Mendelssohn Club with contributions from New Music USA and was premiered by the Bang on a Can All-Stars and the Mendelssohn Club Chorus in Philadelphia in 2014. The oratorio commemorates the history of the northeastern Pennsylvania coal region and what the Pulitzer Prize citation described as a powerful oratorio for chorus and sextet evoking Pennsylvania coal mining life around the turn of the 20th century. It draws on oral histories, interviews, speeches, and more to honor the people who preserved and endured during this time. Mark Swede of the LA Times wrote, "Anthracite Fields captures not only the sadness of hard lives lost, but also of the sweetness and passion of a way of daily life now also lost. The music compels without overstatement. This is a major, profound work." Wolfe's music is distinguished by an intense physicality and a relentless power that pushes performers to extremes and demands attention from the audience.
We went down to the mines, which was fantastic. They take you down and you go, pretty deep, several hundred feet down, I think. And it's beautiful. It's this black, shiny stuff that's in the earth. It's just walls and walls and tunnels. They're incredible looking. Anthracite Fields is the landmass in this area of Pennsylvania that's close to where I'm from, about an hour north of Philadelphia. And to go into the city, which is of course the exciting thing to do, you would drive down a small country road and then you get to Route 309 and you would head south. But if you took 309 and you headed north, which I almost never did, you would wind up in this region. I've been working in particular on these narrative or somewhat narrative pieces, musical pieces that take a look at the American worker in different contexts. I've got singers, so I have texts. It's an incredible advantage, I guess I'd say, in telling a history.
The first movement of Anthracite Fields is called Foundation. This movement is to honor those who have died in mining accidents in Pennsylvania through 1869 to 1916. Wolfe intended to sing the names of victims in this movement, but was shocked by the amounts. She decided to shorten the list by only including those with the first name John and then a last name with one syllable. The second movement, Breaker Boys, is a tribute to the breaker boys who worked in the mines. There were many boys working in the Pennsylvania coal mines. The younger ones worked in the breakers, which were large, ominous structures. The coal would come running down the chutes of the breakers, and the boys had the painful job of removing debris from the rush of coal. The central rhyme of this movement, Mickey Pick Slate, is from the Anthracite region. Others were adapted from children's street rhymes. In the center of this movement are the words of Anthony Shorty Slick, who worked as a breaker boy. The interview is taken from the documentary film America and Lewis Hine, directed by Nina Rosenblum. Hine worked for the National Child Labor Committee. The movement uses cowbell and bicycle pedals to portray the sound of coal falling into the breakers and uses the rhythm to encompass more of a rock feel to the piece. The third movement is entitled Speech. The text is adapted from an excerpt of a speech by John L. Lewis, who served as president of the United Mine Workers of America. Lewis was an impassioned spokesperson for the miners and fought hard-won battles for safer working conditions and for compensation.
Human flesh and bones in this industrial machine that we call modern America. If we must grind our human flesh and bones in this industrial machine that we call modern America. Then before God I assert. Then before God I assert that those who consume the coal and you and I who benefit from that service, because we live in then those who consume the coal and you and I who benefit. Then you and I who and science, you and I who benefit from.
The fourth movement, Flowers, was inspired by an interview with Barbara Powell, daughter and granddaughter of miners. She grew up in a Pennsylvania patch town and had many stories to tell about her family life. She never felt poor. She had an amazing sense of community. Barbara talked about how everyone helped each other. In one interview, Barbara said, "We all had gardens," and then she began to list the names of flowers. The last movement, Appliances, ties the new to the old. Wolfe says she was struck by John Lewis's line, "Those of us who benefit from that service because we live in comfort." She stated that our days are filled with activities that require power. Even today, coal is fueling the nation, powering electricity. When we bake a cake or grind coffee beans, we use coal. The closing words of Anthracite Fields are taken from an advertising campaign for the coal-powered railroad. In 1900, Ernest Elmo Calkins created a fictitious character, a New York socialite named Phoebe Snow, who rode the rails to Buffalo. It used to be a dirty business to ride a train, but with the diamond of coal, her gown stayed white from morn till night, on the road to Anthracite.
Is not about to go on a trip to Buffalo, on a trip to Buffalo. Phoebe is not about to go. Phoebe is not about to go on a trip to Buffalo. Phoebe is not about to go on a trip to Buffalo, on a trip to Buffalo.
I was lucky enough to email with Julia Wolfe. One of the questions I asked her was, "What is the lasting impact of your song?" She responded, "One of the most moving aspects of creating Anthracite Fields is that people related to coal miners. They mentioned their fathers, grandfathers, and uncles, and they have come to hear the piece, and they come up to talk to me after concerts and sometimes write to me. They want to connect. They are happy that I honored the community in this way. That has been fascinating, and I love to hear their stories, even though they are often sad stories of relatives dying. In a piece like Anthracite Fields, this is important because it tells a story of community, tragedy, family, and hope for the future."